what's up?
It's been a long time, over like maybe 15 years.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, so what you been up to, man? How was it like growing up for you in Flatbush? Let's get straight to that.
All right. Well, growing up in Flatbush was a lot of fun. I had a lot of friends. Got into trouble a lot. Went to hooky parties. But I had a lot of influences in my life at such a young age growing up in Flatbush that it led me to do like negative things.
Yeah.
But overall, I would say growing up in Flatbush was a lot of fun. I got drunk at an early age. I started drinking at about maybe 14 years old. Started smoking cigarettes at 14 years old. Breaking day, hanging out with
Breaking
friends.
day? What's breaking day?
You know what I mean, like staying out all night till the break of dawn, till the morning, the wee hours of the morning.
How did your parents deal with that? Like you just disappearing and being out to those times in the morning?
They dealt with it. My mother, she wasn't too happy. She would cry sometimes, worry about me in the street. But for the most part, I think she just prayed a lot,
Come from like a religious family?
No, I wouldn't say a religious family, but I come from a family that knows God from many different angles.
Oh, so your family was not a religious family, but they know God, but you still got caught up in a lot of crazy things in your life. How did that happen?
I would say because of influence. I mean, I ran around the streets with Flatbush Pulley Kings. I ran around the streets with STP, the cliques, driving in stolen cars and, going to clubs and, just having a grand old time at that age with those influences. I didn't have any care. Everything was fun. You don't realize until later on in life how those situations and those decisions and those influences affect you.
So let me ask you about influences, because you said FBK, STP. What was it like running around with FBK back then?
It was fun and dangerous. Dangerously fun.
Yeah, describe it.
Dangerously fun.
Describe a day with a FBK guy, hanging out with FBK.
I would say, hanging out, smoking weed, driving around in different color Lexuses, Acuras, the new shit, the new stylish shit.
You knew the cars were stolen.
Yeah. Getting in car chases, you know what I mean? But I always knew who to get in the car with, because
Who were the drivers?
They have, some good drivers. They all good drivers, but I was very careful about who I was getting in the car with because I knew, looking at them, I was like, well, if I get in the car with this one, I'm getting locked up today. If I get in the car with this one, I'm not going to jail today. That kind of thing. So, yeah.
So who were some of the drivers that you would know to get in the car with, that you would trust getting in the car with? Ghost? Okay.
Mikey.
All right.
And Red.
Okay.
Those was my three top that I would get in the car with.
So can you tell me a crazy FBK story or crazy story from you running around with these crews back in the days?
I mean, besides them shooting everywhere and me sitting on top of the telephone pole and Mikey's busting his gun and I'm like, yeah. Yeah. Besides them shooting everywhere and having, the chases with police, I mean, I have one really funny story.
Yeah.
I have one funny story. I was with Red, right? We was in the coupe, and Red, I forgot what it was. I don't remember, but we was in a coupe, and we were driving and going through a car wash. We went through the car wash. We came out. Police was like, right behind us.
Wait, hold on. So he has a stolen car,
right?
But he's taking it through the car wash.
We went through the car
because he believed it was his car.
Well, it was. It was their car, But yeah, so they we went through the car wash, and you know, police ended up on our tail or whatever behind us, and he's like, damn, what we gonna do? It was me, him, and Mike gonna go. He's like, what we gonna do? And I'm like, looking at him, he's like, should I stop? And I'm in my head, I was like, I'm not going to jail today. I'm not going to jail today. So I was like, let me tell you what you do. When he get out, because he was like a fat police officer and he was by himself. So I was like, when he get out and he's coming to the car, knock off. So then we can be like on the road when he runs to the car, when he's running back to his car. We have time, you know. He did it and it worked and we got away.
And that was exciting for you.
That was exciting. I mean, I was a kid, yeah. It was exciting.
Running around with FBK, SCP. Mm-hmm. Do you have any crazy stories, like running around with FBK and or SCP? Like, it's crazy because they had beef too. Were you like around during those times? Were you part of the reason?
I wasn't part of the reason. One thing I could say about both of those cliques there, they're both loyal teams. You know, they're very selective who they give their loyalty to. They're both loyal teams. And I would tell you that FPK and SCP, they never put me or Serena or White on a Call, any of us, in a situation where we had to choose. You know, like we had to choose. We didn't have that. They weren't about this, can you go set this one up, or can you go do this or do that? The children of today, the cliques of today, that's their life. That's their life. Their gang, set this one up, get this one. They wasn't like that, you know. And I really appreciate that. I really like that I was able to grow up in the hood, in Flatbush, chilling with whoever, smoking, drinking, having fun, partying, clubbing, being a kid. Doing, you know, things that kids wasn't really supposed to be doing, drinking.
Going to hooky parties?
Yeah, going to hooky parties.
What was the hooky parties like?
It was fun, and, you know, it was fun. The tunes was... the tunes, you know, once you got some good tunes, that's it. It's a wrap, you know? Yeah.
Did you guys like ever go to jail, or was it just like a...
No. We did a lot of things in the street. I would say together. Sometimes we did things separately. We never got locked up together or with FPK or SCP. But there were times that we did do stuff and I got locked up. How many times? I got locked up, and my juvenile record is like a good 10 pages or something like that, maybe longer.
How many times would you say you got locked up?
Altogether in my life?
Yeah.
12 times.
12 times?
12 times.
Have you done like any real time?
I did some time, not a long time. I did 31 days in a local county jail, and I got really sick.
In jail?
I got sick in jail.
What do you mean? What kind of sick?
I was on suicide watch. I wouldn't eat, and you know, they put you like in different levels.
Yeah.
When you don't eat and when you're not like responsive to, you know, to the environment or to people. So I was more like in a mental health, like suicide watches. I didn't think that I could survive in it. You know, that was one of my biggest fears throughout life, was having to actually sit in jail for a long time. And, you know, growing up, I was always a spoiled kid. You know, It's like you get in trouble, my mother, father's there to bail me out. You know, always bail me out of trouble. But that time, the judge was like, bond revoked. Wow. No bond. You are not getting out. And I was like, oh my goodness. And
this was after being arrested. How many times did he finally say revoked? Or was it like early?
When this time, I was grown when this happened. I mean, I stayed in Spofford for a few days, you know, when it was there. But yeah, And that time is what woke me up.
By this time, I know you have children, right?
Yes.
Did you have children at this time yet?
I had children at this time. I have 3 daughters, 3 beautiful daughters. They've grown. They've grown up to be nice young ladies. You know, my youngest is 17 years old. But yeah, I have 3 daughters. And when we talk about Flatbush, you know, we can talk. I can talk about my daughters because my oldest, at age 15, we were in Flatbush.
Okay, so
we were living in Flatbush, and she was like running the streets, you know, trying to like hang out with friends. And I started to see a little bit of me in her, like the cutting the class and all of that. And I was like, she's like, I'm going to Canarsie. So no, you're not. You're not going to nobody's Canarsie. You're cutting school. So then, you know, I got upset. I reacted. She got a whipping.
Yeah.
For cutting school, you know, obedience, you know, disobedience, whatever. She got a whipping, things, she fought back, things turned out weird, you know, didn't turn out really well. And they ended up going to foster care, my children.
All of them?
Yes, because I guess with the system, it's like if you have one that has like an issue, they take all of the kids out the home. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so my kids were in foster care temporarily for a year and about a half.
How did that affect you around that time? Like, how did you deal with that?
It was kind of challenging for me, but when I tell you that education is a powerful thing, it is a powerful thing, okay? I have a paralegal study degree, okay?
You?
Yes.
When did
I have a degree in paralegal studies, okay? And if I did not get that degree or learn knowledge of the law, I don't know if I would have ever gotten my kids back, okay? Because the system is so messed up that once they take your kids, they try to keep them forever. I had to fire 2 lawyers and take the case on myself, pro se, in the system for a year.
So hold on, you hired 2 lawyers, they didn't do a good job.
Right.
So you end up just basically
firing them
and then
taking the case on myself.
And you won the case?
And I won the case.
No.
ACS wanted to voluntarily withdraw their case, and the judge dismissed it with prejudice, which means that they cannot bring any other cases or complaints to court.
Wow.
Against me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know this.
Yeah. I mean, some people knew and they judged me for it. You know, they talked about me and they tried to say all these horrible things, or, you know, I'm a criminal and you know, my kids got taken away and I'm this horrible mother and all of these things. But, you know, I just, you know, I blow it off because I know who I am. You know what I mean? And I know what I've done and what I'm capable of doing and where I'm going. So
did you want to be a lawyer? Is that something that you wanted to do before, like, all this stuff happened? Is this...
I always wanted to be a lawyer. But I got in trouble all those times, right? So...
There's no stipulation against that getting arrested 12 times could stop you from being a lawyer? There's nothing...
Well, I'm in law school now. I just got accepted.
Oh, that's what's up.
I just got accepted into law school. Actually, I had my first class last week.
Oh, shit.
Yep. Intentional torts class, and it was great. It's a lot of writing, but I'm a very good writer, so...
I remember you used to write all the time when you was a kid.
Yeah, so...
you used to write books. I remember I'm reading them like, yo, I got to skip through this. This is too long. No disrespect. It was just too long.
I know. I love to write.
You was like a poet. You used to be...
I love to write. I still write. I write music. I got books of music that I've written. I love to write, and writing the law is something that I want to do, and I'm working on it.
So you said a paralegal? Is that what you said?
I got a paralegal degree.
How many degrees? Do you have any more degrees? Like,
Yes, I have. I have 3 degrees. I have a paralegal degree. 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 I have a paralegal I have a degree in paralegal studies.
Okay.
I have a bachelor's in forensic psychology with 2 minors, criminology and deviance, and criminal law. And I have a master's in clinical social work with a specialization in health and mental health. And I have a master's in criminal justice with an advanced certificate in criminal investigations. And I also have 2 specializations in that area. So that's criminology and deviance and criminal law and procedure. So yeah, so I would say this is, law school is my 5th degree. So you asked me about like stipulations, or if there was like any requirements or any disbarments in regards to me being accepted into law school or being able to obtain any jobs. I kind of want to talk about that because there's a lot of people, in the world today that does not know that even if they get in trouble or even if they go through, some things, that they still have an opportunity to advance in life. I mean, I had to file for a certificate of good conduct. It took me 2 years to get. You fill out the application, you got to put everything down. I mean, from the day you got in trouble, from the very first day, from when you was a kid, all the way up, you got to tell all your dirt on this application. They do an investigation, and then you have to have an interview. So I had to go through that process, and I had to wait 2 years for that application. But before I got that approval, that certificate, I was denied jobs. I mean, I got a job, I got jobs here and there. I got a job with the city. I got fired once the background check came back. Yeah. But once I got that certificate, I was able to get any job. Worked for Rikers Island, Bedford Hills Correctional
Wait, you worked for Rikers Island?
Yes, I worked.
So did you have felony charges?
No.
Or no felony charges?
No,
okay.
I did get arrested for felony charges. And the felony charges, one case was no process, so they didn't, pursue charges. And in the other situation, they lowered it down to misdemeanor. All right, that's good though. Considering the circumstances.
So you went from Spotswood to working at Rikers Island?
Yep, and interning at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility for Women.
What the hell? What was that like?
It was a rewarding experience being at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility. I was there for a year. Most of them are doing about anywhere from 7 to life, 25 to life. Some of them, were lifers. And I was working with them. It was a rewarding experience being able to help them. And working with them, I was able to see, like, if I would have continued on the path that I was on, I would have been living like that.
Wow.
I would have been living like that. So I was able to see firsthand what my life would have really looked like if I did not get that last wake-up call the last time I had got locked up. It was a traumatizing experience, and I hurt a lot of people with what I did.
So you worked in Rikers. You mentioned you worked in
Yes.
Rikers.
Right.
What was that like, working in Rikers?
I worked in Rikers for a short time.
How long?
Now, not long. The reason Rikers I was so excited, to get the job at Rikers and to work there because I was already at Bedford Hills Correctional Facility, and so I'm like, yes, now I'm going to be able to go to Rikers and help the women at Rikers, And I get the position, and they tell me that they cannot put me in the Rose, I'm single. They can't put me in the women's facility. So I was like, damn. So I was like, all right, let me take this chance to see if I can help, men, juveniles, men, whatever. They ended up putting me in the Bloody Beacon, okay? The GRBC units.
What is that?
Okay? They call it the Bloody Beacon. It's been known throughout history to be the Bloody Beacon because it's a lot of bloodbaths that go on in there. But so
and this is your first initial like experience
with
in Rikers.
In Rikers, right? Well,
well, I mean, as a
up and going there,
as a like
as
an employee.
Yes, and it was in the men's facility, you know, and I just felt very uncomfortable working there. You know, I am a well-respected young lady. That's definite. But in the facility, you know, they have a lot of different personalities. I was in the mental health unit, and it was quite challenging because some of the men there, they didn't, you know, understand that boundaries. A lot of comments about my shape, you know. I guess I'm really nice and fit, of course, but you know, the comments about my shape and stuff like that, and I couldn't tolerate it. It was just like, I felt very uncomfortable, and so I resigned. I mean, these are all stories, you know. I'm not too proud of a lot of them, but I'm happy that I did grow up in Flatbush, that I was able to live my life and have fun, and you know, that I do have stories to tell. Me now, you know, being in law school, and now I'm like seeing all of these things. I'm actually like an advocate for the law, but in a good way, because I've seen the injustices, you know, I've lived it. And so it just makes me I feel really proud.
You should be proud.
I feel really proud that from where I came from all the stuff that I've done, that I'm able to elevate and escalate from here.
Is there anything that you would want to tell these young kids that are running around wild and shooting up each other, killing each other over gangs and shit like that? Is there anything you would like to tell these kids, you know, your experiences that maybe could help them change their lives?
I would like to tell them that I'm a firm believer of this, and I always say this: the mind is the bag. Okay, the mind is the bag. The mind is the most powerful thing that a person has, and if you do not use it correctly, you will be destroyed. I will tell them that education is a primary factor. It should be a primary factor, and that's where they should place all their energy in, because all these people, police officers, they have education. Lawyers, they have education. Everybody that people are trying to go up, these people today, our African Americans, minority, all of us, and you know, humanity, people that are trying to fight today are fighting against people who are educated and knowledgeable in certain areas. That's why it's so hard to win sometimes. You know, so education is the main thing. If I didn't have education, my kids would still be in foster care. I mean, you had lawyers in there, lawyers in there. I put them and I made them hit the books. And they were looking at me like, 2 judges told me to go to law school. 2 judges told me to go to law school.
So you had influences when you was young that made you, well, we can't blame everyone else on the reasons that you did certain things.
Right.
But the influences that you had around you caused you to be a criminal, and then the influences you got older caused you to then take on law.
Yeah.
Or just your life experiences, basically.
Just my life experiences. I mean, I did stuff with people, and I took the rap for people. They know who they are. You know what I mean? They know who they are. They know what they was doing in the street. Everybody knows me. You know, I may have been like bad or done some stuff, but I would never consider myself one of those true gangbangers. Okay, I would never try to put that label on myself, because I wasn't that. But those that was really doing some shit in the street, you know what I mean? I took the rap for all of that, as if I was, you know? So when my time came for me to do stuff, it was like I always had to look at this. Every time I had to go apply for a job, I had to write this down. Every time I had tried to get into a university, a school, college, I had to write this down. I had to write 10 pages of why this happened, why I could be trusted, what kind of person I am today, and all of these things, you know. I don't regret a thing. I don't regret a thing, because I learned from all of it. and the level that I'm at now, come on now. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up, man.
And Flatbush. It's Flatbush made me this way. You heard? Flatbush made me this way. Flatbush itself. I'm sorry. Flatbush itself. Not the people, not all the people in it. Flatbush itself. I always have my own mind.
Flatbush raised.
Flatbush raised.